Hello everyone, welcome back to Blackjack. I'm Blackjack Aviani, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We are going to be reacting to Starfire versus Blaze. It is not a death battle, it is a triple F put out by Josh Scorcher. I wanted to audition for this so badly, but when he was holding auditions, I was super sick. I've played Blaze before in the fandom we did of the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, and it was really fun. So I will link to that in the description. I don't know much about Starfire. I don't know much about Blaze, despite playing her once. I did watch the summation for Starfire. I forgot most of it. But you know what? Let's just go into this. We'll enjoy a big fight. I know this has been a big thing for Josh for a long time. Professional Kefka fan Josh Scorcher. There we go. It's like a theatrical version of his usual intro. Oh, fiery fan fights. That's what triple F means. Okay.
Blaze the Cat, Princess of the Soul Empire, Protector of Dimensions, and Guardian of the Soul Emeralds.
Starfire, Princess of Tamaran, Liberator of Slaves, and Heart of the Teen Titans.
While most princesses bear the mantle of demure politicians, some passionate sorts like to take a more hands-on approach in defending their realms.
Like these two purple-friendly neighborhood— wait, they're from another planet— fiery heroines.
Now, there are some fair questions as to what we are taking as
And Blaze is from
canon
another,
in this.
like,
For
another
Starfire,
universe
we are
entirely,
considering
isn't
the
she?
main comics, aka Starfire Prime, as our primary source.
Alright.
But if there are some things in supplemental
Okay,
material—
let's read this. Okay. Comments are assumed to have no prior knowledge of each other unless explicitly stated. Comments are freed from any moral restraints against killing. All other personality traits are preserved. While a combatant's maximum potential will be a key consideration, their consistency in demonstrating those abilities is equally important. While potential battlefields can affect the verdict, other external factors unrelated to the combatants cannot. Unless otherwise specified, all official material related to a character is considered valid, provided it does not contradict the primary source material. The battle concludes when one combatant is killed or otherwise incapacitated to the point where they can no longer fight. Yes, I think that's a good addendum there. I know Death Battle has ended a few where the loser doesn't actually die, like Starscream. He just kind of kept going, and apparently, according to the production, he got trapped in a sewing machine or something like that. But yeah, so it's good to see an expansion on that sort of thing. There we go.
in Elseworlds, cartoons, or video games that don't flat out contradict the main series, we're including it.
As for
Think of me as a
Blaze,
Wicked
as
Witch,
she's
Tin
originally
Man.
a video game character, we'll be taking her game appearances as our primary. But as long
Gotcha.
as there aren't any contradictions, we're also including the side games, IDW comics, and some snippets from Bumblecast as supplements.
So,
Really? What's
no,
Bumblecast?
We're not using the Archie Blaze here. Long story
All
short,
right.
it actually makes the fight less interesting. He's Josh and I'm Aramau.
And we're here to analyze their powers,
Awesome.
abilities, and stats to find out who would win a battle to the death.
Nice.
Really?
Hey, it's legally distinct.
He's checking his notes. Yeah!
Beyond the stars lies an alien planet of humanoids, born with incredible strength and the inherent ability to absorb energy emitted from the sun and soar through the skies of their home. From this world, a savior, powerful and pure of heart, would arrive on our own planet, always holding back their immense strength for fear of hurting the innocent. Eventually, they would become a shining beacon of hope for the people of Earth. That's right. We're talking
Does
about...
she really
Princess
have...
Coriander of Tamaran. Corey,
Does
hey,
she
that's
really
our
have
dog's
a,
name, was the second child of
magical
three
girl
siblings of
transformation?
Tamaran's royal family. Oh, middle child syndrome. In royalty, no less. That historically turns out really well.
And here it's just as messy. Her elder sister, Commander,
Okay. Crown Princess Coriander, or Corey Anders, race Tamaranian. She is 6'4". My God. mustard enthusiast. Design inspirations. Marilyn Monroe, Iris Cajon, Red Sonja, adult film star Rosemary Lawrence, and George Perez's wife Carol Flynn. Interesting.
Seemed ready to become queen. Before she could,
I'm actually surprised Red Sonja isn't a more popular
she lost
character.
Her birthright. Commander did not take this well. She attempted and failed to kill Corey, resulting in her own banishment.
Did she learn her lesson?
No.
Well, no.
No one ever does.
Allied herself with the Citadel, a ruthless slaver empire that invaded most of their local star system. With her new allies, Space Scar here easily conquered Tamaran. But to ensure peace and the safety of his people, the king, her father, sold off his own baby girl to the Citadel as a slave. Dude, not cool. Best dad judges you.
Well, in the king's feeble defense, it was either that or have all his people be taken prisoner. Plus, he likely didn't know what they'd actually do to Corey, as she was tortured and especially abused by Commander and the Citadel for 6 years. Until
God damn, her own sister too.
And experimented on by the
well, of course they're gonna betray.
Known as the Scions.
Did her sister seriously not foresee that?
How much energy a Tamaranian can absorb before exploding into a pile of alien guts. This particular set of experiments went on for 10 years.
Of course it did.
Suddenly
Of
feeling
course
like
it did.
hugging my babies right now. 1 minute.
In an ironic twist, the
Gotta hug the
Citadel
babies.
invaded to free Commander, and during the ensuing chaos, Coriander was granted strange powers, which she promptly used to free herself and flee to the stars.
Huh, I
Soon
kind of
she
just
arrived
assumed
on
she had
planet
those powers
Earth, where
already.
She had a fateful encounter with the former sidekick of Batman, Robin. After that got sorted, she would find safety and camaraderie with other heroes like
Oh yeah,
Raven,
the
Beast
kiss
Boy,
is
and
like she
Cyborg.
absorbs
These
someone's
weirdos and
language
goofballs
skills,
became
right?
her family away from home,
Or, like,
and she decided to protect
gains
Earth under
the ability
alias
to speak that language.
Starfire. Ari, that's your cue.
I was getting baby huggies. Leave me alone.
You're lying.
The alien Starfire. That's just the English translation of her name, right? Though wouldn't it have been funny if her superhero name was just the Spice Coriander? I mean, she is kind of spicy.
Fine.
Anyways,
We
over
have a
time,
script.
With a few adventures under their utility belts, these young underdogs would become known as the Teen Titans. Starfire proved to be an incredible asset to the Titans thanks to her alien physiology. Tamaranians are
Yeah,
descended
makes
from a
sense.
feline race. Yeah, really.
It's technically
They're
a
super
cat.
strong, super fast, super durable, and can fly through the air. And because of the Scion experiments, she can fire beams of solar energy.
These solar rays are her star bolts. The only good thing to come from those horrific experiments. They can burn as hot as
Okay,
a star. And
hang on.
even if-
This, Josh, if you're watching any of the reactions, this is very, very hard to read. Starbolts vary in color, which might indicate how much power Starfire is putting behind them. Green and yellow seem to be higher in potency, whereas pink could be her holding back. Ah, interesting. Okay,
intangible
but it would be nice to be able
Over
to
time, she
read
learned to
that.
expel them from her body in dozens of creative ways, though she seems to favor the simple approaches of firing them through her eyes and from her hands.
Yeah, it's a
She
proven
uses
winner.
energy shields, implode them to suck in nearby energy, or even focus all the energy she has into an omnidirectional supernova, which
Immune
can
to
instantly vaporize people
vampires.
arguably more powerful than she is. However, it's incredibly draining to use, so it's a bit of a desperation move. Starfire
Yeah, I
is hot,
can imagine.
figuratively and very literally, as the flames that burst from her literal metal-melting body can survive in the vacuum of space and last from planet to planet.
Similar to Kryptonians, Tamaranians can absorb energy.
Gotcha,
specifically
gotcha.
ultraviolet
Sorry, I'm
radiation.
so quiet.
It's nice
I'm
'cause our sun gives
taking
off
this
plenty of
in,
that.
you
Usually
know?
after just a few hours of sunbathing, she's in good shape for a few days. While
Nice,
Starfire
nice.
can absorb other types of energy or radiation to fuel her own abilities,
She's a
such as
claw
solar
hand
or
off to the
electromagnetic.
side.
If it's too foreign to what she's used to, then it could exhaust her or put her into a coma.
That said, she adapts to it pretty quickly once she wakes up. She also has some other powers
Okay.
that seem kind of left field.
Alright, let's see. While Tamaranians are stated to have telepathic immunity, Starfire has been affected by those abilities before, such as Darkseid's mind control and multiple continuities, making it more of a strong resistance than an outright immunity. They might have thought they were immune on their home planet because they never encountered anything that would be at that level.
Like astral
That would be
projection,
pretty
mental
interesting.
resistance, or learning any language by lip contact. That must have made Robin feel so special when he found that out, huh?
Even without her
Does
powers,
it work
she's
for
deft in both
non-spoken
hand-to-hand combat
languages?
and swordsmanship
Like,
due to her
can you
Tamaranian
learn
and Okaran training,
various
as
kinds
well
of
as
sign
sparring
language
with
that
members of the
way?
Justice League. She's beaten Wonder Girl a few times, and an already incredibly skilled swordsman couldn't track her. So he ended up losing his hands.
Awesome.
Ooh. After some time, Star proved herself to be a decent leader of the Titans, and why wouldn't she? She's clearly the glue that holds them together, as every time she leaves, no real...
Okay. Rekmas is a Tamarinian word meaning a time where close friends drift apart and their friendship begins to die, and Keikaku means plan, of course.
Every single time, the Teen Titans fall apart. Rekmas, indeed.
Yeah, Starfire often
I do like
comes
other
across
sodas.
as a
I will try
naive
this.
airhead, but pretty much all her faux pas are caused by simple culture shock. In fact, Star is deceptively clever and has quite a few tactical successes under her belt, even though she's clearly more comfortable deferring to more experienced people's plans rather than making up her own.
Sure, most initiative Corey takes usually boils down to hit it really hard.
Yeah,
but when you're taking
yeah,
to survive a
the
blast from
superhero
Sinar
way.
and powerful enough to blast through a ship built to survive supernovas, do you need to be strategic all that often?
She also crashed through a skeletal Trigon skull. Keep in mind,
Okay.
being with a tenth of his power is easily capable of destroying a universe. She's fought at the level of other DC heavy hitters like Firestorm, several Lantern Corps members, Manhunters, and even held her own against Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
Wow.
the same Wonder Woman that helped pull Earth back into orbit. The same Wonder Woman who regularly outfoxes the tactical genius and God of War Ares. And the same Wonder Woman who deflected every piece of the Shadow God flying across the DC universe.
That is the big death battle feat,
The DC
yes.
universe is 100 trillion light years across.
All
but
right.
more recent calculations put that number at 56.77 nonillion. At the low end,
Okay,
that puts Wonder
all
Woman's
right.
speed at 56 quintillion times faster than light.
Holy
at the
shit.
high end,
Okay.
well, that puts her at, give or take, 1.5 undecillion times the speed of light.
So yes, Starfire...
See,
brings
these kind
the
of shows
overall,
help you learn
because
new
that's
numbers.
Wonder Woman. Twice. Okay, yes, Diana wasn't going all out in their scuffle, so Star's probably not that fast. Especially considering it consistently takes her some time to fly back 26 light years to Tamaran's cosmic neighborhood. But hey, Star can still tag people like...
Okay. During Jesse Quick's attosecond feat, I'm hoping they elaborate on that. She's boosted by the time treadmill, making a non-standard of her base speed, which is only consistently around half the speed of light and only one light speed feat as her upper limb. Okay.
Like Jessie Quick.
Oh,
Sure, she's
okay.
a lower tier speedster,
The
but
very
she's a
next
lower
second.
tier DC speedster.
Yeah.
Context matters.
Yes,
Starfire can survive the
it does.
equivalent of a Chernobyl meltdown in her face and could even survive a cosmic storm that was moving the trillions of light years sized DC universe off balance and threatened to create an unprecedented warping in the space-time continuum.
Also, Josh, again, if you are watching this, some of the font here is a little hard to read, especially the ampersand. That looks like a G. That looks like G Mongol, G Manhunters, G a galactic-sized black hole. It is just you know, a little, yeah. Consistently matches Donna Troy, so it is more, it is... Hang on. Donna Troy isn't who I thought she was. Never mind. I was thinking Wonder Woman, but that's Diana Prince. I don't remember who Donna Troy is now, okay? I didn't know that name sounds familiar, and I know I may be thinking of Deanna Troy. That is a completely different continuity. Except... No. Star Trek crossed over with X-Men, which would be Marvel. Never mind. Yeah, that is a completely different continuity. Never
Starfire
mind.
got knocked around a bit, but she was mostly fine. You
Mostly.
can see why it's no surprise that she's often referred to as the strongest Titan. I know Josh
Cool,
was joking
cool.
at the start, but it really feels like she's the closest we've gotten to a true female Superman, in personality and in powers.
Make no
Nice,
mistake,
nice.
Starfire's capable of godlike feats. Wow, that comic is really on the nose. But unfortunately, that power is often turned against her. Plus, Corey's caring heart causes her to both bullheadedly charge into danger and hold back her power, often making her a liability in a team fight. Clever foes can and do take advantage of this, and as a result, she's lost
Although
many
Tara
of her
was
battles.
her
And that's
friend
not
at
getting
one
into some of her
if she
less
knows.
appealing outings.
Yeah.
What in the anatomically borked Liefeld did they do to my baby?
Unfortunately, writing Corey has proven challenging, as she has many traits that are difficult to balance. Many writers have succeeded, but others often lean too heavily on one or the other, leading to flanderization
That
such
is
as
difficult to
two
balance.
or...
Nope! Out of my house! Give me that! Not in this studio, Satan!
Hey, I actually had to watch it.
Isn't
Know how
there an
many
episode that
episodes
gets into
there are?
explaining
So
quantum
many
physics to the
buts.
audience?
Most importantly,
Something like that.
Starfire's power has a lot
DC's
of...
biggest jobber, which sucks, is allergic to metallic chromium, resulting in uncontrolled explosive sneezes. Oh, God.
caveats. For one, while she can fly much faster than light, doing that leaves her so fatigued she'll pass out for days or even
Oh, gosh.
weeks. Second, without
Fear
a consistent
of
source
clowns.
of
Oh,
ultraviolet light,
no.
she risks quickly burning through all her stored energy. And thirdly, her powers are connected to her emotional state. If she feels driving emotions like joy or righteous fury, her powers often get stronger, even entering a
Righteous
berserker
fury.
state of extreme strength and nigh
Oh, my.
invulnerability, allowing her to briefly surpass...
I get Teen Titan Starfire states her power increases from righteous fury. Specifically, in an alternate universe where she's a sadistic enforcer, she dies in a simple train explosion, suggesting the emotion of sadism weakens her power. Goodness, okay. I noticed, though, they're putting this berserk mode under
Donna
weaknesses.
Troy and Mon-El combined. If she were to feel stifling
assuming
emotions like
that's who that-
despair, fear, confusion, or even feel nothing, her powers greatly weaken.
But that's not really a huge deal, as it's only gotten that bad, never, I think. In fact, her cheerfulness is so indomitable
Interesting.
that she achieved the power of a blue lantern, the lantern core of hope.
really?
Remember, lantern
Nice.
wings can create light-based constructs from anything in the wielder's imagination. Heck, one time Jon Stewart created a whole solar system with his.
Awesome.
Speaking of, whenever a blue lantern is around a green lantern, it unlocks literally the most power in the lantern core emotional spectrum. And yeah, Starfire had access to one of those.
Yeah, but that's
until
not going
Hal
to be
Jordan
happening now.
confiscated the ring, that jerk.
What?
Nah.
Why?
Well, he felt she was too young.
That doesn't sound right. Let me see that. Ari,
They gave it to a
this is
cat.
for kindergartners.
And it's canon, it's still Starfire, and that other legally distinct show has taken from weirder sources.
Ari.
No, you're giving me this. It makes perfect sense. Her own flesh and blood sold her into torture and has tried to kill her on multiple occasions. Even her best friend tried to kill her on her wedding day, and she's still a bright ray of sunshine.
Well, that doesn't necessarily mean that.
Corey has every reason to hate the world, heck, even to destroy it. And you're telling me she's not worthy
She
of
does?
being a Blue Lantern when she can look at a heartless bigot who views her as less than nothing and would rather die than be saved by her and still say,
You may not value my life, but I still value yours.
Oh my God, you
Counts
know
are
what that
dirty.
just reminds me of?
Checkmate.
After
Feels
taking
about
back her
trying to
home
save
planet,
Jerry.
joining the Justice League, and also raising a family
Digimon
of her own,
Frontier- or not
Starfire
Frontier,
would be
Tra-
recognized
Tamers.
as a burning glory for those in need. When you see a woman in the sky with hair of burning flame, no evil will fall behind her might and her smile.
Awesome. All right.
Looking to add a little anime flair to your tabletop adventures? Check out the complete waifu handbook.
Oh, yeah, he's
5e,
talked about this
Pathfinder
before.
1st edition and Pathfinder 2nd edition. With over 340 pages, this book
Yeah,
features
yeah, I've
anime-inspired
seen these.
races like the Snake Lamia, Fox Zenko, Dragon Shin Ryujin, and more. Dive into
Cool.
teamwork-focused class options, charming backgrounds, waifu-themed gear, including sentient Dakimakura and battle dresses,
God.
and spells that add both humor and strategy to your game. Want
Flustering
more? Try out innovative
flirtation.
cooking and camping mechanics, crafting legendary meals that grant powerful buffs. Explore Mon's Shoujo.
Finally,
a
I can
vibrant
play the
world
ultimate
led by the
gourmand,
dragon-bride
Queena.
goddess, packed with lovable, dateable waifus. In fact, I'm the one who wrote the Pathfinder 2e content, and I guarantee you'll love it.
Cool,
Use code
cool.
MyWaifu for 10% off your order. And stay tuned, our Kickstarter for the exciting sequel launches
Oh
this
my.
August.
Oh my, okay. All right, now let's see Blaze.
Multiverse theory posits that we are all living in just one variation of countless universes. Full of
Multiverse
alternate
theory is
versions of
also a
each and
bitch,
every one.
according to
In
DBC
some, I
Abridged.
could be a famous football player, or Aramau could like Teen Titans Go.
Horrifying. But in the world of Sonic lies an alternate dimension of our favorite blue hedgehog, the Soul Dimension. It's not that much different. I mean, it even has its own version of the egghead. Biggest difference is that in this version, Sonic is a purple cat girl princess. Yeah, it's weird that there's two. If I had a nickel for...
This This is Blaze, a descendant of a royal family who have protected their sacred treasure, the jeweled scepter, for generations. From birth, Blaze was given
Alright.
power.
Oh god, she's 3'1". This is gonna be interesting. Not a hugger and really hate pirates. For an alternate dimension and part of Silver's bad future.
Over fire, so she could eventually become
cool.
the guardian of the jeweled scepter, as well as the soul emeralds, a dimensional counterpart to the chaos emeralds.
Yeah.
Too bad she just couldn't actually control her powers.
Okay,
like
I cannot
that.
read
And
that
it kind of made
at
any potential
all.
friends shun her, just because she didn't automatically know how to control flames that literally shoot out of her soul. Kids bully each other for the dumbest reasons. Like, can you do it? I don't think so.
Because of that, Blaze would come to see her powers only as a curse. Coupled with the political duties of princesshood, rife with people lying to her every day, she grew up lonely, mistrustful, and bitter. But everything changed when Eggman came to her dimension and stole the soul emeralds. Thanks to her connection to said emeralds, Blaze was able to follow him. She knew what she had to do, retrieve the emeralds she was sworn to protect, and return home.
Unfortunately,
Nice.
a lifetime of isolation and independence made her butt heads with everyone who could possibly help her, like Knuckles, who she chumped and left buried under a pile of rocks. After
Awesome.
learning what it truly means to
Okay. Blaze's origins differ between regions. She's a princess in America and an imperial princess in Japan. There is a distinction. In Europe, she's from a future where everyone has powers, likely inspiring the Fleetway version of her. I wonder why that would be changed.
have friends from Cream, of all people, not Twilight Sparkle, and the Blue Blur himself knocking a little sense into her, she learned that sometimes it's okay to trust others with the fate of the world.
After Rush, Blaze returned to her home dimension and would find herself encountering Sonic on many more occasions.
Yeah,
fighting
well,
more villains,
you
making
gotta.
new friends, and becoming
She's
a recurring
marketable.
member of the cast. She
Yay.
even became a part of Team Rose.
Ah, replacing the other purple cat. Good call.
Blaze is an Olympic-level athlete and acrobat with uncanny spatial awareness.
Awesome,
Over
awesome.
time,
Can
she's
you
learned
raise
to
lesser
master her
beings of
pyrokinetic
fire?
abilities and use them in
Can
conjunction
survive
with
being
her physical
flattened.
skills.
She's got all kinds of moves, but most often Blaze uses her flames and ballet-like acrobatics to spin like a fiery Tasmanian.
She can carry up to 999 rings and she loses 20 per hit. You know, if that comes up in this battle, I'm just gonna have to tip my hat to the animator. My hat's in the other room, but tip my hat to the animators for if they actually keep track of that the entire time. Because goodness knows I ain't gonna. Probably most reactors wouldn't.
After images, shoot fireballs, and I think she teleported there. Jury's out on
I
that
think-
one. Ian Flynn won't return my calls.
Oh,
This
gosh.
deep connection with flames not only allows her to erase lesser beings of fire, but it allowed her to seal within her the entity known as Iblis, the raw power of the multiversal threat Solaris. This demon.
Yeah,
burned the
you
entire
gotta at that point. Given that the farmer host, Elise, didn't have pyrokinesis in any way, it's unlikely Blaze's powers are augmented by Avis.
planet and left it in a state
I
of
thought
ruin
Elise
for
was just
200
a
years.
human.
Hang on, if she's just from another dimension, how did Blaze manage to be in Silver's apocalyptic far future? Or be a descendant of a well-known historical figure in Mobian history?
Well, several sources assert that Blaze actually originates from the future, but something happened.
Okay, the events of Sonic 06 aren't retconned and did take place. Elise is familiar with Sonic. After Solaris' erasure, Sonic recalls its events in Team Sonic Racing, and Crisis City and Mephiles appear in Sonic X Shadow Generations. Cool.
After or during the events of Sonic 06.
Something
That
else? All of the
something
above?
causes Blaze to be reincarnated as the Soul Dimension's princess 200 years before Silver's time. We just don't
I
have confirmation of what
see.
that something is yet.
And if Solaris got erased from time, is Iblis still in her soul or not? Oh, I do not envy the rider who has to untangle this timey-wimey Gordian knot.
Ugh. Anyways, like
There's
Sonic,
probably a
Blaze has
whole
access to several
crap
different
load of
power-ups,
fanfics
such as
about it.
shields, mind-affecting items like stun or confusion. She also has ring time, which can transform enemies into rings. And
Oh
when
my.
she was teleported to Eggman's amusement park, she had access to 3 specific wisps.
Interesting,
The cyan
okay.
laser grants an enormous speed boost and rips through enemies like paper. The yellow
Cool.
drill can easily move underground, making it great for surprise attacks. And the indigo asteroid reduces everything into rubble within its vicinity.
But even without power-up,
Alright, okay. The victor of Blaze and Sonic's fight in Sonic Rush depends on the character's point of view. In canon, it seemingly ends in a stalemate after Blaze calms down. Alright.
she's managed to keep up with Sonic, who, need we point out, has some insane feats under his belt.
I like
Sonic
that
can
it was
escape whole
doing that
just
for
by running,
an anime
or defeat
scene.
villains like Infinite, who can create dimensions that go on infinitely in base form. But one of the biggest would come from Sonic's friends, as they reacted to Solaris's fusion, which conjured a light that consumed the universe in 23 seconds.
Goodness
At
golly.
minimum, that's 120 quadrillion times faster
Oh
than
my
light.
lord.
And that's not even accounting for the fact that Solaris exists in all time, past, present, and future.
And considering Blaze was able to catch Knuckles off guard and fought Sonic to a stalemate, Blaze
Is
could
he
keep
doing
up with all of that.
the Peter Griffin death pose thing with the hand behind the back? Sonic and his friends continuously get more powerful over time. Yeah, that's what happens in long-going franchises with consistent characters. As well as like Perfect Chaos and Metal Overlord are now able to be defeated without super transformations. This jump in power is fair to include for Blaze as well. Yes. Yes, it is.
Even before Sonic met Blaze, he'd fought Emerald, who absorbed enough chaos energy to power the final Egg Blaster. That sucker destroyed a whole constellation.
Considering the distance and gravitational binding of each star, that's worth at least 465 exafo, or 465 quintillion supernovas. That kind of power can blow up galaxies, or even shake the entire universe. But her greatest power lies within the gems she was destined to protect. The Soul Emeralds. These, debatably...
I'm wondering if she does that, how strong is a Blue Lantern Ring's construct? Okay, contain universes with themselves. God in a will, unlimited in quotation marks. Power and desire. Okay. Theoretical powers. Life force manipulation, resurrection, theoretically. Dream manipulation, theoretically. Good fortune, theoretically. Well, the only way dream manipulation could come into it would be if Corey, has to fall asleep from exerting herself too much. But I don't think that's going to happen. Near invulnerability, that's the loaded word. Causality is going to be very interesting.
Emeralds and have similar capacities of unlocking unlimited power.
Basically, they're like Chaos Emeralds, but fiery. And shaped
Cool.
like actual cut emeralds.
She's doing.
And tied more to order than chaos. And can warn about upcoming cataclysms. And if you don't know what you're doing...
Okay. While Archie Blaze isn't being used in this matchup, the Archie Comics panels shown in this analysis illustrate canon nuances of Blaze and the Soul Emerald's power. Okay. We're just using this for
there's actually quite
visual.
a few differences, but the overall power level is the same in the ways that actually matter. They also
Cool.
grant Blaze her most powerful transformation, Super Blaze!
Yay!
Actually, it's Burning Blaze.
Oh, there we
Does
go.
it matter? It does exactly what Supersonic does.
Okay. Well, memory restoration was thought to be a power of Burning Blaze. This was refuted by Sega, as reported by Ian Flynn. And okay, that's what Bumblecast is. He's part of that. In March 8th, 2021.
Sonic
Okay.
increases their strength, speed, and durability to absurd amounts.
Burning Blaze
Awesome.
shot a jet of flame that instantly vaporized a large ship of the Egg Fleet. Given
Cool.
the vapor point of basic steel, that fire would have to be at least 3,000 to 6,000 degrees Celsius with an explosive pressure of at least 100,000 psi.
For context, that's a fire blast as hot as a red dwarf star delivered with the force of a nuke. And that's the minimum, considering many ships of the fleet can
Awesome.
withstand multiple attacks from the multi-solar system power of base Sonic. So this flame was likely
Cool.
hotter than a blue sun with a zetapho of power behind it. She can also slash through meteors moving at... Josh, how fast is she going here?
Well, considering
We don't
this is
know.
happening in a wildly fluctuating dimensional rift where neither time nor space functions properly,
Oh
as
my.
Burning Blaze, her speed is
Immeasurable?
technically
Yeah.
immeasurable.
Of course it is. While in the exception rift, Supersonic and Burning Blaze fought the Egg Salamander, which had already drained the Chaos and Soul Emerald's energies to power it. The two Eggmans planned to use their powers to collapse and merge Sonic's and Blaze dimensions to form a dream Eggman land that transcends dimensions. Given how smart the guys are,
Yeah,
I
but then they
believe
have to
them,
get along with
especially
each
since those two
other.
did the impossible and managed to unleash an attack that actually bypassed Superform invincibility.
And
Wow.
that's not even
Okay.
the craziest part. Before this, Blaze had given up all hope of victory since the Soul Emeralds had been drained of their power. Sonic, who's definitely had this sort of thing happen before,
Yeah,
then makes her realize that the Soul Emerald's power comes from special bonds, thus completely recharging the Soul Emerald.
Nice. Quickly recharging emerald items has been a consistent ability since Sonic the Hedgehog 2. The Soul Emeralds should be comparable in this aspect, as Knuckles' senses mistook their energy for the Chaos Emerald's energy. Okay.
Wait.
That makes sense.
Are you saying that the power of friendship restored the multiversal strength of the Soul Emeralds? Those ponies really are onto something. Seriously, when did this turn into MLP? And it tracks, as Sonic, Shadow, and Silver superforms were able to fight against Solaris, a superdimensional life form that would consume all existing timelines of all dimensions.
Sonic's superform could also fight the Time Eater, which nearly erased all of time and space of their
Okay. Dr. Eggman and his younger self used an ancient being called the Time Eater to mess with all of space-time. Time is just one dimension of reality. Within the endless possibilities of space, there could be an infinite number of other Sonics out there. Yeah, that's how multiverse theory works.
And even then, all that...
Okay, gotta pause again. Currently, the canon path of Sonic Frontiers is questionable. However, since the end result is the same in the two storylines, we're treating both the base game and DLC stories as canon in this analysis. I mean, it is a multiverse. Just...
in comparison to defeating the End, which refers to itself as infinite compared to Sonic's past adversaries, as well as calling Super Sonic something that transcends law and time. And considering Blaze fought Sonic on
got a
even
vacation
ground,
as a
and
reward.
the Soul Emeralds are comparable to the Chaos Emeralds, she has access to all that power.
Nice.
Well, most of it anyway. The Soul Emeralds don't seem to have their versions of common Chaos abilities, or if they do, Blaze hasn't used them yet. That's kind of weird.
All right.
We've seen Chaos Control with the Chaos Emeralds and Chronos Control using a Time Stone. Shouldn't there be like a Soul Control?
Theoretically, yes, but either Blaze doesn't know that the technique exists, or it doesn't exist at all because it hasn't been shown yet.
Really? That sort of idea just writes itself. You'd think they'd jump on that.
Agreed, but as it stands, the Soul Dimension is a place we unfortunately don't know that much about, and the stuff we do know is pretty limited. For instance, the Jeweled Scepter that Blaze guards apparently contains more power than the Chaos and Soul Emeralds, but we've seen so little of it, we don't know what it's fully capable of. We do know a bit about Blaze, though, both her strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, Blaze is more emotionally stable and works better with a team nowadays, but she can fall back into old habits when no one's around to offer a second opinion. Still a far cry from how she used to act in the Archie comics. Like, cheese, princess, who's spitting your morning tea?
Also, like the other super forms in the series, the god-slaying, dimension-shattering, burning Blaze transformation does have a time limit and isn't truly invincible. Hit her really hard and you can stun her or knock her back. But one of her biggest weaknesses is a rather odd one. She has a fear of heights.
Wait,
despite being able to fly
through space. It's like a bajillion feet in the air. How could you be afraid after that?
Well, it likely took a lot of mental discipline to overcome, because as long as she focuses on ignoring how high she is, her acrophobia isn't triggered.
So wait, she runs on a souped-up version of Don't Look Down?
Yep.
Yeah,
so it's like Sonic and his hatred of water. I know she's supposed to be the alternate universe Sonic, but the only things she seems to have in common with him are that they're both brave, confident, speedy heroes. They're so different, yet weirdly similar.
Brash.
More than just that, everything about Blaze and Sonic make them perfect foils. The Soul and Chaos Emeralds that they're respectively connected to are described like North and South poles.
That is a really nice visual there.
Essential to each
the way that branched out,
Blaze,
that was very nice.
The flame is complemented by Sonic, the embodiment of wind, whose oxygen fuel.
Yeah. Breakdancing and ballet are their fighting styles.
The fire. Blaze is a disciplined, solemn royal with a serious attitude, contrasting Sonic, a spontaneous, free-spirited, and fun-loving vagrant. Even their combat styles and transformations, Blaze's balletic grace versus Sonic's breakdance-like fluidity, Burning Blaze's red and yellow versus Super Sonic's yellow and red. They're opposites, but not in opposition. Like yin and yang, it's a perfect parallel harmony.
Anti-Blaze would be kind of likewise very reckless and bold and in your face.
So almost like Sonic, but cranked up to 11.
Wow, they really put a lot of thought into this. Blaze tries to give
Any
off that
war
air of
crimes
the
I should
stoic,
know about?
duty-bound royal, but deep down, she's just a burned soul who wants to give this whole friendship thing a genuine shot. As long as she lives, Blaze will protect the emeralds, her dimension, and her new friends at any cost, even
Awesome.
her own life.
All right, are we gonna get into
Need a
it?
gaming PC that's powerful, reliable, and
Okay,
custom
sorry, I am
built,
going to
fully backed
skip
by
a
Redneck
PC ad,
Engine,
sorry.
And while you're gaming, and ethically test more flavors. Just delicious taste drink. It's south on make. Glitch it.
That's it for the
Sorry.
evidence. Before we get started, what do the fans think about this matchup?
Well,
Oh.
according to their votes, it appears the people believe Starfire is going to handily win this.
Oh, wow. Well, let's see what the fighters have to say about it.
It's time for a legally distinct battle to the death. I'm working on it.
Okay, let's see. I think it's gonna come down to whether, like, how strong a Blue Lantern ring can be.
Nightwing, I'm having none of the luck finding the jewel thief.
Just keep looking, Starfire. They couldn't have got him far. Try retracing your steps. Nightwing out.
Finally. Now
It's just
I
sitting
can
in the
leave
middle
this
of the room.
strange dimension.
I have found you, thief of the red jewel. Return what you have stolen, or... We are going to be the greatest of friends.
Oh my
we
God.
shall celebrate Blowfog together, and I will order the mustard with...
God.
Don't you dare touch me again.
Okay, we don't have to be friends, but you must hand over that jewel.
I am the guardian
I
of
don't have
these
any
emeralds,
idea what it even
and I will
is.
not let you take them.
Fight! Scheduled demolition. Yeah, it's gonna happen a little earlier than scheduled. Okay. I don't really know much about wisps. Yeah, she will. Of course. Yeah, thank you.
I am sorry to disappoint you, but I am stronger than I look.
Yeah, well, so am I, so... They're both kind of obscenely stronger than they look, so...
So, you like to play with fire? Then let's play!
Dang. Okay, that's a lot. Alternately, she could just dodge. Is she pulling the sun?
You can't escape me! Don't give up, Star!
You got this, girl!
You can do this, Star!
Don't you dare to give up, Starfire.
We believe in you.
Starfire? Starfire, can you hear me? Corey!
In fearful day, in raging night, with strong hearts full.
Yep, I knew she was gonna...
When all seems lost, in the war of light,
Oh no, you don't!
look to the stars, for hope burns.
Oh! Goodness golly. Where are we now? Yikes!
We could have been friends, but you chose this.
You chose to manhandle her and accuse her of stealing her own thing.
Giving up already? Come on, Blaze. I thought you were stronger than that.
What is all of that? Is that just Blue Lantern power restraints? Oh, dang.
No! I won't fall here! Not when my friends need me!
Dang!
How is she this powerful? Wait, that energy. Maybe I
How? Stop it!
Just picking her up by the scruff of the neck, really?
What's going on? No!
Holy shit! Oh my god!
How could she have absorbed the Soul Emerald's power? It's impossible unless... she's like me. Which means...
Oh god!
I can stop this!
This has had like 5 distinct climaxes already. This is awesome.
Hope. I have hope there is another time and place where we are friends.
Strangely, I hope so too.
Aw.
And
Dang.
this is why you shouldn't try to hug cats. But wow, that fight was nuts. Are both of them actually capable of all that?
I mean, yeah, they
Yes.
just went over that.
Well, Blaze had more advantages.
That
in
was what
fight
the
overall.
extremely
These
long
two were
analysis
equal
section
in
was
a
about.
surprising amount of ways.
Their skills and power sets bounce so well off each other that this was honestly pretty tricky to figure out. So let's go through the relevant categories.
can
one by
imagine,
one.
my
How do
gosh.
they fare in the speed department?
Both combatants hail from universes known for their insane speed feats.
Yeah,
But Starfire consistently struggles to keep up with higher tier DC fighters. Even if we highball her interstellar travel feats, she can't keep up with Blaze's teleportation,
Yeah,
outspeeding
yeah.
Knuckles, or moving in spaces unbound by time. In fact, Starfire's best showing of speed comes from Teen Titans Go.
Oh no.
We're not kidding. Apparently, this Starfire
Okay,
jumping
hey,
jacks
yeah,
so
yeah.
fast that she nearly disrupted the
Frickin'
space-time.
Pause, please. Okay. Considering Prime Starfire and Teen Titans Go Starfire don't have any other showings of immeasurable speed, Teen Titan Go here is clearly an outlier. You know, if we put aside Starfire's direct feats and scaled her to people she's fought, we'd have to downscale because she lost most of those fights. Of course she did. Was speed necessarily a factor?
However, she wasn't fully in control and was able to hear Robin telling her to stop, which means she wasn't fully out of sync with the normal flow of time.
All
the
right.
fairest interpretation is that she approached immeasurable speed but didn't quite reach it.
Even if she did, Blaze has multiple feats of directly achieving immeasurable speed on her own and scaling to it via Sonic, even with the
It always
small
gets
boost
me when
for
they
the blue.
don't hit the rings. Okay. Blaze did defeat Knuckles, a martial arts master, but the fight happened so fast that it's unclear if it was due to her superior stats, her ability to match a master martial artist, or both. Okay.
Lantern ring, Starfire can't reliably compete with Burning Blaze.
Sure, Starfire's managed to hit one or two DC characters who could supposedly achieve immeasurable speed, but they clearly weren't going their fastest during these incidents. Admittedly, comparing any two fighters' immeasurable speed feats does get into weird and cerebral territory. While our combatants are in the same ballpark, Blaze just has more consistently high showings, and she doesn't need a multi-week nap after going that fast.
Yeah.
Point for Blaze.
Both Blaze and Starfire have surprising similarities when it comes to battle instincts and strategic thinking. They often defer to their teammates for plans, but both have shown they can cleverly think around a problem when needed. Both also have tempers that can create openings for their opponents.
Yeah.
But that's where the
Okay. Both Blaze and Starfire are perceptive enough to notice personality flaws in others, but neither are ruthless enough to exploit them in a fight. However, they opt to overpower rather than target those weaknesses.
similarities end, and Starfire demonstrates her clear advantage.
While Blaze has taken steps to mitigate her acrophobia, if she's caught off guard, her concentration can waver and cause her to get blindsided more easily. Also, Blaze's techniques and fighting style are extremely telegraphed and showy, making them quite predictable compared to Starfire. While Blaze has trained for years to be the Soul Emerald's guardian, that was mostly done on her own. Corey has formal combat training with the Okarans, on top of years scrimmaging with a team to prepare for anything related to battle.
Hopefully,
Point for
yeah.
Starfire.
Experience isn't as cut and dry as you might think. Starfire has many more examples of fighting dozens of diverse, multiversal level enemies, whereas with Blaze, you can count those types of foes on one hand. That we've seen anyway. However, when it comes to comparing their win-loss records,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
comes up a bit short.
But hold on, there's nuance to this.
it's allergy
Yes,
season, okay? I'm just...
Starfire loses all the time, and that's really annoying from a narrative standpoint. And from a fan standpoint. But look at the people she loses, too. People like Orion, Mongol, and Wonder Woman. She got her teeth kicked in, sure, but the fact that she fought them and didn't die should not be discounted.
Yeah, to say that Blaze is more experienced based on that would just be disingenuous. Plus, Corey has fought plenty of foes like Blaze. Vice versa, not so much, but she still faced a pretty significant number of foes. Tough call, but Starfire gets a slight edge here.
In fact, Starfire had a lot of natural counters to
Makes
Blaze's
sense,
extra
makes
arsenal.
sense.
Her powerful mental resistance could resist the confusion and stun items, and even though the Indigo Wisp could easily nullify her Starbolts, Corey's insane
that's what that was
durability would
doing,
allow her to
okay.
resist being turned into mulch.
While the Blue Lantern Ring could potentially...
Okay, even if the Blue Lantern Ring was at full power, Starfire could not nullify Blaze's pyrokinesis, since Blaze's fire is tied to her soul, not her emotional state. Plus, since Chaos's emeralds could nullify Solaris's regeneration, it can be assumed that the equivalent Soul Emeralds can nullify Blue Lantern regeneration. Okay, alright.
heal
That
Starfire or
explains some
supercharge
things.
her regular powers with a surge of positive emotion like hope, a Blue Lantern's usual augmentations are severely hampered in a mono-e-mono fight like this because it requires a Green Lantern ring in close proximity to reach its full potential. Without that, the most it's able to provide is a small power boost and simple energy constructs.
And
Yeah.
while Starfire's no slouch with strategy or creativity, we don't know how effective she'd actually be using those constructs without a lot of speculation. Thanks, Hal. Ultimately, the Soul Emerald gave Blaze an edge that Starfire didn't really have an answer to except for maybe one, her absorption ability.
Starfire has managed to absorb several unusual kinds of energy, but it has its limitations.
Yeah, it would. I got a paper cut yesterday. Okay. The Kryptonian Starfire absorbed solar energy from was far weaker than Superman, and the process took more time than Blaze would allow. Additionally, given how often she's been defeated by Superman, there's likely a limit to whom Starfire can absorb power from. Yeah, that's...
She can't absorb her own starbolts, and despite her name and that it's literally coming off her hair, Starfire has actually never been shown to absorb fire. Yes, fire can sometimes emit ultraviolet light, but that very much depends on the fuel source. And considering that Blaze's flames are red and they shoot out of her soul, it's unlikely Starfire would be able to absorb ultraviolet energy from them, or the energy of the Soul Emeralds, which are tied to that element.
Even assuming arguendo that Starfire...
Okay. Starfire can't sun dip like Superman, as Tamaranians can only store so much energy before exploding. While she can absorb more energy than a typical Tamaranian due to the Scion experiments, there's no indication that Starfire's energy limit has been completely removed. Yeah, Yeah, I mean, she's still got a mortal body and everything.
And absorb the Soul Emerald's energy, there was way too much that could go wrong from that. Star could fall unconscious from the foreignness of the energy, or explode from the sheer amount of multiversal power, or the Soul Emerald's refusing to play nice. Blaze, on the other hand, could just quickly dip into another dimension for a safe recharge. Or, since Starfire and Blaze are so similar, given that Blaze was able to seal Iblis within her based on merely a connection to flames, it's almost 100% likely that Blaze would just seal Starfire away within her own soul,
Goodness
immediately,
gracious.
and anticlimactically, ending the fight.
Oh, it actually gets worse for Starfire. While she has strong resistance to mental manipulation, Starfire has consistently shown no resistances to spiritual or physical manipulation.
Of course.
Meaning Blaze could just use ring time to turn Starfire into a ring. Yeah, I know, it's underwhelming, but Blaze has far too many achievable ways to debilitate Starfire or instantly end the fight, several of which she doesn't need to be in burning Blaze form to accomplish.
But hold on again, there's nuance to this one too. While Blaze has...
Of course there is. Blaze can erase beings of fire, but since she couldn't erase Iblis, it's unlikely this ability would work completely on someone as powerful as Starfire, though it might at least weaken her given the fire that naturally spawns from her hair. Okay, alright then. That
preferred options.
She
usually
absolute
relies on
hell to go to
course,
stylist.
with strategic thinking as a backup plan. It might take time for her to realize that she needs her more obscure powers to pull out the win, which could favor Starfire. Except Starfire shares a similar approach.
Yeah.
Additionally, Blaze has shown increasing willingness to adapt and use her other abilities to buy time when needed. Blaze takes a strong edge in abilities.
But assuming Blaze doesn't get any chances to instantly end the fight, can she actually overpower Starfire?
Well, let's take a look at both our combatants' most cited stalemates. While Sonic and Blaze can be comfortably put on the same level, Corey and Diana can't. Not only was Corey on the back foot with Wonder Girl's help, Diana was holding back and was about to cut loose before they were interrupted. Against a serious Wonder Woman, Starfire's gonna lose. Hard. Which is so not fair.
Starfire's incredible...
Okay. The fight where Envy possessed Wonder Woman's body supports this. Starfire landed a sucker punch, but it barely affected Envy, and Starfire was quickly overwhelmed afterwards. Even if Starfire directly scales to Wonder Woman, it's unlikely she scales to the power of the God Wave as determined in She-Ra versus Wonder Woman. Dude, you can't be legally distinct and then cite the thing that you're legally distinct from.
Strength and durability varies greatly due to a multitude of factors, so her stats are tricky to lock down. The time Starfire held their own against other high-powered characters
tend
in the
to be
DC
too,
universe,
anyway.
such as Sinestro, Firestorm, or hell, even Superman, this is often due to unusual circumstances, such as her opponents holding back immensely, or they were weakened, subdued, or distracted by other fighters. Whether on her own or on a team,
Multiple
she's lost
eyes.
a fair
Goodness
few
gracious.
times against weaker characters in her universe.
But to be fair, that's usually because Starfire holds back too, and because 50 years of writers are always on the same page. Sure, Starfire's
Starfire's feats of killing an Eschaton demon and igniting the Sepulchre in Justice League Odyssey can't be fully credited to her, as she had a temporary power boost for Darkseid's machinations during these instances and needed Cyborg's help to stay stable. Even if we allow both feats, her power at this point isn't guaranteed to surpass Burning Blaze. Okay. I wouldn't have known about either of those, but
from those losses still likely put her at multiversal. In fact, a relatively safe scaling chain through Connor Kent, a weakened Superboy Prime, and a weakened Anti-Monitor puts her near infinite multiverse.
There's an Anti-Monitor?
Though not quite. Can Blaze actually top that?
Ignore everything?
She can. While we don't see much of Burning Blaze, it is shown to be directly comparable to Supersonic, which is on a ridiculous level of power.
Yeah.
Emerald Superforms have defeated super-dimensional gods, which could erase all timelines and dimensions in the infinite sonic cosmology. Twice. Or foes who could create infinite dimensions. Heck, Blaze was able to directly defeat guys who could create dimensions transcending dimensions. Twice.
Okay, alright, okay. The DC Universe is a higher cosmology than the Sonic Universe, even with the recent buff from Sonic Racing Crossworlds. However, I love that racing games are canon. It's fantastic. It's less relevant here because Starfire hasn't demonstrated power or abilities capable of impacting her universe's higher cosmology on her own. Okay.
Some help, Sonic could still defeat the End, a being claiming to be infinite compared to all of Sonic's adversaries, including Solaris and the Time Eater. Even if we don't take the End at its word, you know, it's kind of a biased source, Burning Blaze still matches the tier of infinite multiverse versus Starfire's, at best, almost infinite multiverse. In a cosmic sort of way, one is technically bigger than the other.
If the End wasn't just gassing itself up, then that would make a single Chaos Emerald Superform, which, again, a Soul Emerald Superform matches, at minimum, more powerful than several infinities combined. And all of this is just from the video games. If we calculated her power using feats from the Archie comics...
It would bump Blaze up in power, but it would actually be an overall downgrade. It didn't showcase anything on the level of Supersonic's reality warping feats, despite them technically being capable of the same things. Archie Blaze's fire also requires oxygen, unlike Game Blaze, whose fire can burn underwater. She also loses a lot to really weak enemies.
Oh my, okay. Iblis was stronger than base Blaze, and definitely far stronger than its previous host Elise, so Blaze sealing an entity in her soul that's stronger than her is logically consistent, especially since the most that Starfire could do while sealed away is limited astral projection.
Scepter got a significant power boost as it actually protected her dimension from the Super Genesis wave, literally rewriting their infinite multiverse's reality. So there's that, I guess.
Either way, it doesn't really matter. Blaze takes this one too. Maybe we're totally off our rockers and underestimating Starfire's power, especially with the Blue Lantern Ring's boost. I'm very much on that side. But even then, it wouldn't change anything because she still can't outspeed Blaze or counter all of her win conditions.
Makes sense.
We're honestly expecting the result to be the other way around, especially me, considering Corey is Flame Princess Superman and Blaze is Flame Princess Sonic.
Almost. While Blaze is on par with Sonic.
Okay, low diff, force Starfire into another dimension or ring time. Mid diff, soul stealing, erase Starfire's energy. High diff, kill Starfire before Burning Blaze runs out. Starfire, high diff, force Burning Blaze to run out and kill her before she escapes and recharges. Kill Blaze before she can transform into Burning Blaze. Yeah.
In their narrative, in pretty much every DC continuity, Starfire isn't on par with Superman.
Yeah.
She says so herself. In fact, Starfire is openly...
Okay. Even if we ignore all context behind statements of Starfire's capabilities and allow generous scaling chains for her, we'd also have to allow that for Blaze, which would put them both at universal power and still leave Blaze with her superior speed and a multitude of hacks options. Yeah.
Admitted multiversal and or godlike entities like Sinar, the Demiurge, and Darkseid are out of her league and should be handled by others such as Superman or the Green Lantern Corps. That's not to say she's weak. Far from it. She's just a relatively small fish in a really, really big pond.
Starfire's feats place...
So, she's the Yamcha. Because Yamcha, like I've said before, Yamcha is really fucking powerful. He just hangs out with people who make him look like dirt. Okay, yeah. Hey, strong, yeah. Alright. So the Blue Lantern Ring barely helps.
But
okay.
Not enough to significantly overpower her or scale that high in the DC hierarchy. Has Star fought characters on that level? Absolutely. But does she scale high enough and reliably enough to make a difference against Blaze
I like that
and overcome
outfit.
her abilities?
A blouse and long
in the end,
necklace.
Multiple paths.
Okay. Both universes have unclear canons that require a lot of personal interpretation, judgments about what's fair to include or exclude. Overall, we couldn't find anything that reliably put Starfire above Blaze's level. Gotcha.
More reliable power set edged out Starfire's formidable physiology and breadth of experience.
Some stars fade, but at least Corey went out in a blaze of glory.
The winner is Blaze the Cat.
Cool. And I'm gonna assume that's it. I'm assuming he's probably planning another episode. Oh, what's this?
Miss, are you well?
What?
It is all right. You are with a friendly face.
You... What?
Oh wow, they actually got Brandon Yates.
Yeah, I'll go fix it.
You fell out of that rift in dimensions. Whoever your opponent was, they did not survive.
I see.
Okay, you're not gonna believe this, but...
The soul emeralds are missing again. I must find them immediately.
Oh, would you like the help in...
I don't need...
Oh!
Actually,
I remembered the voice of
yes.
Raven.
I would be thankful for your aid.
Wonderful! I truly hope we can be the best of friends.
Thea Salone and
How
Elena
do I
Michelle.
always attract these
Good
types?
job, everyone. Good job. Oh, good. God's little princess. Yeah, he hasn't said anything about a second episode. He's probably planning one, but you know, you gotta fundraise and all of that stuff. Oh, D. Tyler Foots. I know him. I work with him. Fun. It doesn't easy here for a decade, yes. Versus community, please be gentle. Oh, okay. I thought he would have put out a public casting call like last time. Okay. Oh my. Oh, wow. Fascinating. Okay. I haven't heard of any casting calls for that. Josh. All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. I've been recording for well over an hour, but then I realized it's just been an hour and a minute. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Like I said, if you want some constructive criticism, the font choices and some of the font colors were very, very hard to read. The ampersand looked like a G, and I had to take my glasses off to read all of the little print and lean way in because it was very hard to read that. And I do, if you're unfamiliar with my death battle reactions, I do pause to read those. That is a regular thing I do. It wasn't specifically for this. Or if I'm any other reaction I do, but that's the most general. That's the most consistent where that would show up on a regular basis. I really like the voice acting was really good. The animation was really good, especially knowing this was made entirely with, fan donations and everything. Some of the edits during the analysis were very cool. The analysis part, while a little long, did feel necessary. Some of the things that were covered I feel didn't really need to be covered. Like, we don't need to know if they have a resistance to vampires, because we're not dealing with vampires. And I know Death Battle does the same thing, where they sometimes include completely unrelated things that obviously anyone could tell wouldn't be there, but it's kind of strange when they do it too. So I'm certainly looking forward to the next one. That is going to be really cool. I honestly, everyone was like, oh, Sans for Smash, Sans for Smash. Undyne. Okay, she's the one who would make a far better actual character. You know, Sans works as a Mii costume, he really does. But Undyne would make the best actual playable character. And who's going to be voicing Sidon? Because if I know Josh's circle, if he didn't audition for it, it might be Green Scorpion. That would be really cool. Green Scorpion is a huge Sidon fan. I don't know. I mean, I'm probably I don't know. I just think it would be really neat. I want to know more. I want to know when this is going to be happening. That's going to be really neat, though. I wonder if they're going to get into the properties of a shark. Because we don't actually know if Sidon has a bite power. Actually, we don't know if Undyne does either. But she's like it's more of a sea monster sort of thing. She's like creature from the Black Lagoon. Well, not exactly. That's more looks different. But you know what I mean. She's more that sort where she's not an actual animal. I mean, Sidon isn't either. He's a shark man, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. Come on, suspension, suspension here. Okay, just. Okay, so overall, I did greatly enjoy myself, and I certainly look forward to another one. I'm very surprised that there is going to be another one. So. I guess not fast, because I have no idea when it's going to come out. It could be next year for all I know. But that it's already in enough of a planning stage to be revealed. Also, if anyone has just been reading Anatomy of an African Gray Parrot, it's just, yeah. Sometimes I wonder, because I have so many novelty shirts, you know. Okay. Had an excellent time. Please be mindful of the fonts. Good job all around, everyone. And until next time, I am Blackjack Gabbiani, and it's heating up.